James Kemp, and Lieutenant, U.S. Navy. Coming up from Norfolk, we'd been down, we were actually headed for another port call. We were going to go to Montserrat, and the ship broke down just outside of Norfolk. So we go into Norfolk. They spend a couple weeks working on the boilers. And we come back, and the captain decides, you know, why don't we just go up the Chesapeake? The ship is able to fit in the C&D Canal, the Chesapeake and Delaware Canal. It's very rare, evidently, that something this size comes up the canal. But it's fine. It's got the depth. It's got the height. We had to watch the tide. We timed it for the tide so that we'd get under the bridges. It was very interesting. It all went into making sure this was going to work. But after planning was done, yeah, we can do it. So this is kind of a ship handling exercise. We're taking a 418-foot destroyer up the C&D Canal. And fine, come out the Delaware, come around. This was the New York port call, actually. It came around and stopped in New York. But it was fun. And people lining the side of the canal when this thing comes through. Because again, you don't get ships of this size coming up that canal. Probably about the biggest thing the canal could handle. But it could handle it, so we did it. And again, the guy is a maverick. You know, he'll push the limit to the limit, but no further. Finally, we're getting ready to decommission the ship. It's 30 years old. It's done. And like I say, you can't get parts for it anymore. The Board of Inspection and Survey runs inspections on a ship when it's first commissioned, and then to see what they can learn when it's finally done. You see how close to its original tolerances the ship, or performance the ship can make. So InServ is coming on board, and we're doing these trials where there's a crashback trial where you're running through the water and then full reverse. Ship does fine. There's high-speed trials. There's maneuverability. All kinds of stuff you do. Rudder tests and things. Well, what was kind of fun is that as we're working up to see how fast it'll go in reverse, just start slow. Everything starts slow, and then you work it up, just making sure everything's good with the engineering plan. We're starting to go backwards, and this cabin cruiser goes by, and they're laughing at us, you know, like, oh, you guys can't, you know, you can't make any speed, or they're taking off, right? Well, after a little while, we blow by the cabin cruiser in reverse, making this incredible, when in reverse, it doesn't make a bow wave, it plows. And like this incredible waves just coming off the stern of the ship. And we blow by a cabin cruiser. The same cabin cruiser was making fun of us for not being able to keep up with him. We're like, bye. That was fun. On the way back in, we make 33 knots, which is right at her design speed. Very nice. After 30 years, very nice. And big compliments to the engineering guys. It was actually at that time that, or as a result of that weekend, I actually went to captain's mast. It was very interesting. I tell this story, my son's proud of me. I'm not sure I should be. I'm not sure he should be. But a couple weeks before the inspection, the inspectors also come on and they walk around the ship. Just inspecting the spaces. The XO came out and said, okay, that night, I want everybody off the ship. We're going to go up to, there's some places you can berth on the base. And it was, you know, whatever, 40 minutes to get them there, another 40 to get them back. It was, and I was going to have, as the time was approaching, I knew I was going to have some of my most senior, my best people working into the night. Things had gone wrong, and they're working into the night to get this thing done. I'd actually talked to the department head, talked to the captain, talked to the XO about it. And you know, well, the captain said, yeah, it doesn't make, you want these guys to be fresh in the morning. You're kind of right. You don't want them having to all this extra travel and then lose a couple hours of sleep. But So talk to the engineer about it. All right, so I did. And the engineer didn't want to buck the XO. The XO didn't want to hear it. Sure enough, the day or the night of, before the inspection, these guys were up till like 3 in the morning, making all this stuff work. So were the boiler people. They had engines problems of their own. I was in main engines at the time. And I tell the engineer that, look, I'm sorry, my intention is these 3 guys are going to sleep on board. The place is going to be spotless. These 3 guys sleep on board, get up early, you know, everything will be great, but like I need them fresh. I don't want to make mistakes, you know, when we're going to light the thing off. And he didn't say anything. But in the morning, the XO's down looking around, comes finds me and said, your spacers are not ready for inspection, because the guy was still in it. What are you going to do? Turns out that, so we get underway, well, we go to light off, and no issues at all in the main machinery area, but these half-asleep guys in the boiler section, there's a fire. Somebody makes a mistake, somebody does something, there's a fire. It wasn't serious injury, but still, somebody got hurt. Then we picked up from there, everything, we got out and did the in-serve inspection we talked about, 33 knots, everything worked fine. A few weeks later, there's actually a captain's mast. The engineer had to write me up. I go to the captain's mast. There's going to be a punitive letter of reprimand in my record. I'm done. And I was really upset about it. But I'm figuring, well, you know, my job as engineer officer in peacetime is to keep these guys safe. And if I did that, then I did my job. And so I guess I'm not cut out for this. But I was a mess. I really didn't want to be done at that point. I didn't know what to do, where to go. I go onto the pier, and I just wanted to talk to a chaplain. Just talk a little bit. What I didn't know is the chaplain has a pipeline to the Commodore. And here I unloaded. I was better. All right, I'm getting ready to. This will be it. And the next day, I'm hearing all that stuff with the captain. Forget it. It never happened. So I gather the Commodore reamed somebody for something, but it never happened. And that was, you know, in a way, it's kind of a vindication. You know, yeah, the guys that I took care of that way, no issues. The guys that were forced to do this on limited sleep, issues. But it was still probably wrong on my part. It's just, but the guys were safe. What can I say, you know? Then finally, the decommissioning. I mentioned that I was put on in charge of admin for the decommissioning, because that was I'm kind of a detail guy, and I just like it all had to happen because all these guys had to get reassigned, and the 200 of them had to find, you know, everything had to happen into the right time frame. So we got all that done. One of my really best memories. It's a bittersweet memory. Is the ship had been dark now for some time. We were tying off flanges, you know, blocking off pipes and securing the engines, all the equipment to go into decommissioning, go into mothballs. The day finally came when the tugs were coming to pull the ship out and take it down to Norfolk. And it was myself, I think two other guys and the captain who rowed the ship out. We needed to make somebody had to be on board while you were in the harbor, you know, in case something went wrong with the tow line, we had to drop an anchor or whatever. It was like there was enough people on board to get that done, to like take in the lines on the way out. So there were the 4 of us on board. The ship's dead quiet, you know, no electrical power, no nothing, just the tug pulling us out under the bridge at Newport, and then finally, you know, we get onto. I'm not sure if it was that tug or another one came up and got us and took us off. Bittersweet, but I love that ship. I'm glad it's a museum ship now. I miss that ship. And that's the destroyer story.